waited in line just to share this experience of Venom, Candyman, Night of the Living Dead, The Rock, Final Destination. But I want you to know you are now entering the
Cinema
Chop Shop with a top and the pop. Boom, boom, bop.
The Cinema Chop Shop.
What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop, so park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you'll see a Patreon account. If you click it, you can become a member. All you got to do is try, recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to, so click that damn link. Now, with that being said, we're here today to review Shogun Episode 4. Now, I know, I have not reviewed the other episodes of Shogun, but I really just started it this week. I binge watched the first 4 episodes, and I gotta say this show is fantastic. I'm gonna give you guys some initial thoughts of how the first episode or the first couple of episodes played out in my mind, and then we'll go into the nitty gritty with the episode 4 review. I didn't think at the beginning of the show that I was gonna like John Blackthorne's character, but eventually he grew on me. It just, when I saw him, I was just like, I feel like I'm not going to like this character. I feel like this character is going to stick out. I feel like he's not going to relate with me. But honestly, he was much needed in this TV show. He brought a nice little diversity, like not like, like that kind of diversity, but he brought a different perspective and a different type of energy to the show, because I felt like if he wasn't in there, the show would be completely one directional. And this show has some freaking amazing characters and some amazing actors and actresses that are playing these characters. In the first couple of episodes, I thought I was going to see like a lot of bloodshed. I thought this was going to be like a straight up just everybody a samurai fest, but it was really some world building. It was really some story development, and this show is is a super fantastic show. I know it's based off of a novel, if I'm not mistaken. And that novel is based off of real people, so that makes it even more interesting. It feels like as I'm watching the show, I'm getting like a cool little history lesson. So it's really, really interesting as I watch the show and I become familiar with these characters. But the only gripe that I've had so far in this route, it's a really small, minute nitpick. I'm not a fan of the fishbowl lens. There's shots in this show that has a fishbowl lens. I'm not too fond of it, but that's like the super small detail that bothers me. I know some people might say the show's a little bit slow, right? Like I said, it took a while for you to see some real bloodshed. But at the same time, the pacing isn't an issue for me because the story is so well written. The characters are being hatched out, they're being developed. Like, you can't get mad at that, and just kudos to them for having really great writing. And this is what I'm talking about. I feel like TV series are basically taking the place of cinema. Like, I've seen way better written shows than I have movies. And people could say, well, you have time to kind of develop characters, and you have time to kind of like space it out through 10 or less episodes. While movies, you have to do it within kind of like a 2-hour frame. And in some cases you're right, but I've seen a bunch of TV shows that were supposed to be great and they ended up sucking. So even though they have the wiggle room to make something great, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was going to be great. So here we go. Let's get into episode 4. Now, I don't want to really give any like real spoilers or anything like that for those of you that haven't really seen the episode, but I want to say this is the episode where we finally see the storyline take its feet and plant it in the dirt. This is like the rising action, or like kind of like the real climax and the interesting point of the story. This is when we really get to what we've been waiting for. I've been kind of waiting for a conflict to rise. We've been having these characters kind of like go back and forth with each other, and there's been like the possibility of war, but this episode right here solidifies it. It's about to be some bloodshed. And and who kicks it off? Who kicks it off? I'm not even going to tell you, but I want to see if you guys, when you watch the episode, can you predict who's about to kick it off? Now, another thing that happens in this episode is a particular love interest finally this love affair finally comes into fruition. And I knew it since the first episode that this was going to happen. I knew that this love interest was going to end up happening, and by golly, it ended up happening. So that was pretty predictable, but again, I'm not really bothered by it because these characters are so well developed and they have a really good chemistry. I'm not bothered by it at all. I'm more interested to seeing how this episode plays into the next episode, because watching, if you guys were watching the previous episode and how Blackthorn was given a Toranaga gave Blackthorn an ultimatum about, all right, look, you want your men in your boat, teach my men some secret English fighting war tactics, something that the Japanese has never seen before. And I thought this was pretty brilliant because, you know, it gives you you will give the enemy a new perspective of fighting that they're not comfortable with, or they're not used to, so it'll be harder to counter. So it makes sense. And I was wondering, how's Blackthorn going to wiggle his way out of this? The whole time I'm sitting there wondering, you know what, this has got to be a con. This has got to be a ruse. And you know, somewhere down the line that Blackthorn is going to like kind of settle his character is going to settle in Japan. He's going to get comfortable in Japan. And we start to see that happening in this episode. This starts to basically plant his roots inside of Japan. So it's really cool. And you keep seeing the freaking conflict, the eternal conflict between the different regimes, and you see everybody trying to screw each other over. And it's such a crazy game of just finding the snake in the grass. And it's wild when you're watching the show and these characters, and it's like this particular, like, you know, not culture, but the samurai way. You have these people presenting themselves as noble, straightforward, honorable people. And it's like they're backdooring each other every chance they get. They're trying to make secret pacts behind each other's backs. And honestly, at the end of the episode, that shit blows up in their face. Literally, you'll see what I'm talking about when you get there. But overall, I had a lot of fun with this episode. This show has not failed me, not once. Not once has this show failed me at all. Like this is binge worthy. I kind of wanted to wait till the season was over, then kind of watch every episode, but I missed that whole checking in every single week and watching episodes, you know, like kind of just watching different episodes. And it's very interesting to see that where we go from where we go with the different character. I'm gonna just say Nagakato, I think that's his name. Sorry, I'm not like familiar with super Japanese, but I want to see where his character comes from. He's been kind of like popping up and he's been talking and things like that, but I feel like now he's gonna become a problem. He's gonna be a little bit more central focus. So, like I said, it's really cool. I'm really happy with this TV show. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I cannot wait until next week. It's cool to wait for another show and just like check in with it weekly. Let me know how you guys felt about this episode. Did you guys like it? Did you guys predict the love interest just like I did? Did you how are you guys feeling about this? Do you feel like this is the episode where everything picks up? Because that's what I feel like. I feel like this episode is the episode where everything is starting to kind of click and we're on the uphill rise on the mountain of storytelling. You know, so let's see where we go from here. But that's my review. Let me know if you agree or disagree, whatever the case may be. Drop it in the comment section down below. And you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you guys are magnificent today. And adios, homies.
I want to play a game. Subscribe now. The choice is yours. You're now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop.